you look at the top players in the IPL today, the top Indian players in the IPL today, look at their 2008 salaries and look at their 2024 salaries.
Hardly.
Let's start with MSD.
Okay.
6 crores in 2008, 2024 is 12 crores. So that's a
Doubled in
compounding of
16 years,
roughly 4.5%. Virat Kohli, he came at a little over the base price in 2008, 12 lakh rupees.
Wow, okay.
12 lakh rupees, and Virat Kohli now gets 15 crore rupees.
Oh,
That's a big jump.
That's
Guess who got a lot more money than Virat Kohli in the 2008 IPL?
I have no idea.
Rohit Sharma.
Okay.
Got 4.8 crores for Deccan Chargers that time. Now he's obviously the first retained player of the Mumbai Indians, so gets 16 crores. So that's
Four
roughly
times.
a little, around 4 times, a little over 3.5 times. Then you have, who else is this? Dinesh Karthik, 2.1 crores in the first season. Now is 5.5 crores.
Not bad.
Virat Kohli, 12 lakh turning into 15 crore. You'd say, oh yeah, one of the biggest multi-baggers, right?
That's why they say invest in yourself, right?
Let me tell you.
Oh, there's something more.
Yes,
Okay.
and I left this for the last one. Ravindra Jadeja for Rajasthan Royals in 2008 went for the base price of 10 lakh rupees.
Okay.
And now he's the first retained player of Chennai Super Kings in 2024, drawing 16 crore rupees.
10 lakhs to 16 crores.
That's the bigger compounding. In fact, so the two headlines that you get from here, MS Dhoni's salary has not compounded more than even the FD rate.
Okay.
Virat Kohli is not the biggest multi-bagger, 12 lakh turning into 15 crores. Ravindra Jadeja's 10 lakh turning into 16 crores is the bigger multi-bagger.
Was a small mid-cap kind of a story out there or what?
It's a small to
Amazing.
mega cap now. Yeah.
Folks, welcome to Paisa Vaisa. I'm your host Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter. Super duper day, at least today, 16th May, 7 years of Paisa Vaisa. Today's episode, we are doing a sub-series on how businesses work. And today is an episode that I want to do for quite some time with the right guest who is here with me. It's on the IPL, the Indian Premier League. My guest, Consumer King. Consumer is life. Consumer is everything. Mangalam Maloo of CNBC TV 18. We are going to talk about the business of IPL, teams, franchise, and much more. Mangalam, welcome to Paisa Vaisa. Thank you so much for doing this for our listeners.
Well, I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, and I'm glad that it's on the 7th anniversary of your show. What's also more interesting is with all these, hyperboles that you've set me up, now I'm a lot more nervous. I've never been more nervous before a podcast. I have to say
now
this
you
to
know what I feel when I was on Not a Filmy game show with you. Na? Like I got trampled on that Not a Filmy game show.
Well,
like really just all over it. But yeah, thanks for doing this. I know that you've been tracking consumer now for quite some time. I know that you've taken up, you've seen the IPL now, how important it is from a consumer's angle. And it's been going on in India now for what, 14, 16 years? I don't know, 2008? 24? So 16 years.
16 years.
It's only grown bigger. So let's start with why is the IPL important?
Why is the IPL important? It's a brilliant question. I'll tell you why. Because from a consumer standpoint, it mixes the two biggest passions of the country. One of them is entertainment, the other is cricket. So it's cricketainment. And we all know that, when it is IPL, I think the great Piyush Pandey had once said that ये एक ऐसा game है जिसमें रोज इंडिया जीतता है.
Nice.
Because 2 months, increasingly a little more than that, every night there is a game where one city of the country is playing, everyone's favorite players are playing, and one city of the two win. Eventually it's India winning, right? So it's also clubbed with cricket of the highest order. So the qualitative aspects of it all, we do know. It's bringing in the best players of the world together. It's giving an opportunity for 200 Indian players to, just be exposed. And what is the tagline of IPL? On the IPL trophy in Sanskrit, it's written, Yatra Pratibha Avsara Prapnoti, which means that this is where talent meets opportunity. So from that offering, it's incredible. From its cricket standpoint, right from day one when Brendan McCullum hit that, I think, 158 runs or so, to even now, it's just breathtaking. But here's where the numbers come in. And since you set me up with all these kings and all of that and stuff, hyperboles, I had to make a lot of notes for this.
Go for it.
And let me put you, put plain numbers for you. Before the IPL started in 2008, the cumulative size of India's sports market was 2,423 crore rupees.
Okay.
16 years later, the size of India's sports market is 15,766 crores.
7.5 times in 16 years.
7.5 times in 16 years.
Wow.
Of this 15,700 crores, cricket is 13,700 crores. So 87%, 88% of India's sports market is cricket. And of this, if you do some back of the envelope calculation, the annual size for IPL is almost $1 billion. So it's, roughly 66% of the cricket revenue in the country and 60% of the sports revenue in the country.
Wow.
And it's only increasing, not only in its business proportion, but valuation as well. We have data from Duff & Phelps, which when it started, it was sub $1 billion in terms of its own value. Not a lot of people gave it a chance beyond 2 or 3 seasons. Last season, it's $15 billion. So in terms of plain hard numbers, it's incredible, and it's incredibly important as well, just from a business standpoint.
Have you ever been to a match? Or you go there every year?
Every year. I'm a diehard Mumbai Indians fan.
Of course.
It's a tough season right now. What can I say? And I've literally fought with a lot of these consumer company leaders who support other teams. I was once interviewing Hina Nagarajan, and I was pulling her leg, hey, RCB doesn't win. Guess what? This year, RCB has won the WPL and doing a lot better than Mumbai Indians. And last year, I was pulling Prabha Narasimhan's leg by saying that, Chennai has 5, Mumbai has 5, Mumbai is still better.
And well, look at you now.
Today, I shouldn't have done that in hindsight, but...
But still, the buzz inside the stadium is just another... I've been to a few. I mean, it's just being there inside, and almost all Mumbai matches are full. I don't think you can get any seats.
You can't get any seats. All Mumbai matches are full. All Bangalore matches are full. And this year I did something very whimsical, I have to say, because it's Dhoni's last season. And who isn't a Dhoni fan? Even if you're a diehard Mumbai Indians fan, you have a lot of love for Dhoni, a lot of respect for Dhoni. So I just took a flight. I went for one of the Chennai games in Chepauk just to watch Dhoni
what an experience.
Play. And it was like a resident deity, resident overlord walking down. Just a move, Dhoni would just move his hand or something. The crowd would go crazy. And Chennai, their hashtag is what? Whistle Podu. So there are 40,000 people in the Chepauk, which is a beautiful stadium, by the way. All of them whistling together. It's a mad experience. Like, as I speak, I get goosebumps. A diehard Mumbai Indians fan getting goosebumps on Chennai Super Kings. That's the IPL for
Everybody's a Dhoni fan. Whatever team you support, everybody's a Dhoni fan. Okay, let's understand the business model now. Okay, so how does the IPL work as a business? I assume this is owned, the franchise, or the overall property is owned by the BCCI. So top down, broadly, how does the business work?
So let's break the business down of the IPL in 2 forms. So there are multiple owners in the IPL, multiple stakeholders in the IPL, right? So obviously, like you pointed out, the IP is owned by the BCCI. Thereafter, under which you have all the franchise owners. What is it that the BCCI gets in terms of revenues? So typically, the BCCI gets revenues from 3 things. The first thing is that, the broadcasting rights, which is basically the largest chunk of revenues that we get for the IPL. Roughly 9,500 crores per year is what the BCCI or what the IPL broadcasting rights are sold for. And then thereafter you have BCCI getting money from all the franchises. So all the franchisees, they pay an annual fee to the BCCI to own the franchise. So in the first 10 years of the IPL, all the franchise owners had to pay 1/10 of the franchise cost as in equal installments over 10 years. And thereafter, that model changed into 20% of the revenue that the franchise makes. The third thing that the BCCI makes money from are all the title sponsorships. So you have Tata IPL, and then you have Angel One, Chauka, and all these others. So that amounts to about about 1,000 crores per year coming in. So that's the revenue that typically accumulates from the IPL standpoint. That is then further divided by 2. So the BCCI retains 50% of what it gets as broadcast fees, as franchise fees, and also as title sponsorship fees. The remaining 50% is shared equally among the 10 teams. 45% is shared absolutely equally. 5% is given to the teams, the top 2 or top 4 teams, that the ones that make playoffs, as an extra incentive. So that's how it works. So I just had some numbers with me as well.
Please.
So, the central revenue and media rights, 50% retained by the BCCI, 45% shared with 10 franchises equally. Of the media rights, last year, the BCCI had 4,850 crores. That's what they made. 4,850 crores were given to the teams.
9.5 divided by 2.
9.5 divided by 2. Franchise fees close to around 2,600 crores. Divide by 2, 1,350 kept by 2,700 crores, 1,350 kept by the BCCI. Title sponsors, roughly 1,000 crores per year, 500 crores kept by the BCCI, 500. The remaining is divided into the teams.
So since the biggest chunk of these fees, this income for the BCCI and of course for the franchise teams
Right.
also, how has it moved over the years? Like right now we're at $1 billion plus, and every
Right.
year this number keeps on eye popping. So much money, because this is going from the pockets of everybody the broadcasters who want to take this. Like I think this year it's Jio Cinema on digital and Star on DTH, right?
Right.
So how has the trends been? It's only gone bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's only gone bigger and bigger and bigger. And, it's actually exponentially increased just with the rise of digital viewership as well. Because the last deal that happened for broadcast, it was clubbed, both, digital and broadcast. It amounted to about 16,000 crore rupees over 5 years. This year, they unbundled the two. So there was separate bidding for digital, which was won by Jio Cinema, and for television, which was won by Hotstar. Together, that brought about 48,000 crores for the BCCI over 5-year period. So that itself is the biggest delta. And digital viewership has increased. Last year, the viewership was over 505 million viewers over the IPL. This year, we're, somewhere midway through the IPL, a little more than that, and the viewership has crossed that already. So the number of concurrent viewers and all of that, if you look at it, the numbers have gone a lot bigger when it comes to the viewership, and that's reflected in the kind of business that these guys have been doing as well. And one stat that I remember, Sun TV, when it owned, SRH, at some point it would do about 70-80 crores of IPL revenue with 40-50 crores as costs. They would make about 20-30 crores of EBITDA. This year I'm looking at Chennai Super Kings, annual report, and last year they did 273 crores of IPL revenue, and the EBITDA was 65 crores. So technically speaking, a few years ago, what was the revenue of a franchise has now become the EBITDA of the franchise. So it's only gone bigger.
That's in fact my next question. Okay, now we spoke about how the business works for BCCI. Now, how does it work for the team?
How does it work for the team? It's pretty simple. Let's look at the expenses. Let's look at the income. What are the incomes that they have? I just spoke about the BCCI sharing that pool of, the broadcast revenue with the team. That's the central revenue pool. Then they get the central media rights. Thereafter, they have their own sponsors for the team. And then there is ground advertising, gate money, merchandising, and all of that and stuff. What are their biggest expense heads? The first one is franchise fee. For all the franchises, barring the two that recently were there, they have to pay 20% of their revenue as franchise fee. Then you have the players' fees, and then you have operating expenses. So just to put all of these into numbers, we have the Chennai Super Kings annual report. FY23, their revenue was 273 crores, EBITDA was 65 crores. So what was the income that came in from central revenue? Close to 191 crores. Sponsorship that they got for themselves, close to around 78 crores. So that brings you about 270 crores. Player fee was 92 crores. Franchise fee was 50 crores, which is basically 20% of the revenue that they made. And tournament expenses was around 38.1 crores.
Okay. So tell me one thing. Who gets the money from the tickets? Is that split? Is the stadium, or how does that work?
So the tickets, if you notice, all the games are played in home venues and away venues.
Format, yeah.
So home venue tickets are basically the home team gets it. And the away venue tickets are obviously that the other guy's home team. Say it's a Mumbai-Punjab match. So if it's played in Wankhede, Mumbai Indians gets the ticket. And if it's in Punjab, then obviously Preeti Zinta and co would get that. But having said that, it sounds very exciting. So many people coming in and all of that and stuff. Tickets don't account for a lot in their overall scheme of things.
Figured. Yeah.
Because
hardly any.
I mean, I was just, again, doing the math on that. Roughly 30,000 capacity on an average for a stadium, of which you have access to be able to sell about 25,000 tickets if you're very lucky. Correct. Because you do have to give a lot of tickets to the club owners and all of that and stuff. There are a lot of formalities. Of the 25,000 monetizable tickets that you have, the average realization could be about 999 rupees. That's about 1,000 rupees. So that's 2.5 crore.
Across the board.
Yes,
the really
across
expensive
the board.
ones
and the really cheap ones.
Okay. So about 1,000 per.
Roughly 1,000. I mean, you could make it 1,500 or whatever, irrespective, mota mota. So that gives you about 2.5 crore rupees in terms of revenue. Cut GST off that, you have about 2 crore rupees as gate sales.
Wow.
Now, against
that's
which...
it.
That's it.
Oh, that's like an ad.
That's like an ad, right?
Yeah.
So And compare that to the expenses that you have. One, you obviously have to rent the ground from the cricket association that you're renting. So you have that. Then you have to pay for practice. You have to pay for players' travel. You have to pay for everything that goes into producing that stadium or making that stadium, fan friendly, etc. So you're technically not left with much. So in the overall scheme of things, ticket is not as important. It just barely covers the cost of staging that match in that venue.
I was just thinking that the purest way of enjoying cricket is in the stadium.
Yeah.
The vibe, the buzz, everything. And yet that's not a revenue earner. That's kind of, whereas when you're sitting at home, of course, you're excited at home also, no problem. But that's a revenue earner more than the ticket. It just kind of seems, but I'm assuming that's probably true for all franchise sports globally.
It's mathematics also, because if you were at the stadium, at best, the number of people who can watch the match at the stadium are 30,000. As against the number who can watch it all online. India. There's almost 500 million. Yeah. So peak concurrent viewers have been 3 crores. So the revenue, it differs from that.
Makes
scale.
Sense. Okay. Last question before we go to a break, Mangalam. Can you and I buy a team? I mean, can you and I start our own franchise?
Can you and I start our own franchise for the IPL or just separately?
For the IPL. So let's say that, I know that there are caps on teams, number of teams is 10. I think they're going to increase it to 12 in going forward, etc. But if you and I wake up one fine day and say that you put in 100 crores, I hope you have 100 crores, of course. I know I don't, but let's say both of us have it. Can we
Between the two of us, 507 rupees or something is what we'll put here. Ye Firoti ka chanda hai.
Digital money, man. Anyway. How would that work, yeah?
So, I'll give you a short answer and I'll give you a long answer. Short answer is no.
Okay.
Long answer is that no, because one, the BCCI isn't opening bids for any new teams right now. If and when it does, they will put out the guidelines. The other reason why no is I don't think any of the teams are currently on the block or they're looking for paring their stake as well. So again, that's a no. Now, if and when the BCCI does, open up bids for all the other teams or for inviting new franchises, they will have a set of rules and, they will have a lot of preconditions, etc. So you would have to fulfill those conditions and check marks in that, which I hope one day you and I are able to. Because, if you look at the numbers, when Mukesh Ambani first bought Mumbai Indians in the first auction, that was the most expensive team. That was about $111 million.
Back in 2008?
Back in 2007. Okay. Because, the IPL launched in 2008, right? Yeah. And that time also the rupee to the dollar was close to 40 rupees. So, Mumbai Indians came at around roughly 450 crores. Soon, 3 years later, Sahara bought Pune Warriors. Remember there used to be a team called Pune Warriors? Bought it for about 1,700 crores. So in 3 years, the value for a new team increased by about 4 times.
Wow.
Look at the recent one that happened in,
Gujarat Titans and Lucknow.
Gujarat Titans and Lucknow Super Giants. At 7,090 crores for Lucknow Super Giants and 5,600 crores for Gujarat Titans.
So how does this work? This number that you're giving me is what I pay to the BCCI or how does it,
So that's the franchise fee. So basically, when Mumbai Indians was first bought for 450 crores, you had to pay 450 crores over 10 years in 10 equal installments. So 45 crore, 45 crore.
And that went into a rev share then finally?
That went into the rev share.
Eventually.
It's
kind of a license. It's like telecom.
It's a license fee, yeah.
We started with very high license fees and, TRA figured out that that's not the way to go. Switch to revenue share. I kind of got that similarity here.
That went into rev share. And with with Gujarat Titans and Lucknow Super Giants, the next 10 years will be equal installments and thereafter it moves into revenue share.
Okay. And I think a couple of teams have also gone out, as in they were closed or what. So, in terms of total number of teams, does the BCCI have a number going forward? Because I heard that the number of teams will increase, number of matches will increase. How does that work?
So, currently there are 10 teams and a lot of people there are multiple ways to look at it, right? Are you doing a group A, group B? Are you doing, in the current format, it is difficult for you to have more than 10 teams.
Okay.
The reason why you say that is because one, the IPL already has become a lot longer than what it was when it started. That means that you are, keeping with you a lot of the players of the associate nations, etc. as well. That means no other major tournament in the world can take place. So that IPL window is only looking to increase. And if you start getting more teams, etc. At some point, I'm sure it will be a much longer window for the IPL. It'll go the way the English Premier League is, where
I was
it
just
goes
going
on
to
for
come
the
to that.
entire year,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
I don't know whether, we're up for it yet or not. Because 2 months is great for a lot of people. The game to, money reward that they get is also pretty cool and feasible. If it goes on for about 8 months, then you need the players to be free for that much. And India currently is prioritizing Test cricket. It is prioritizing,
White
cricket
ball,
for
yeah.
nation.
Yeah.
And all the other countries, all the other, cricket boards are also doing that. So I'm not sure how that pans out.
Yeah.
But as of now, I personally believe, as a viewer, that this is good enough. This is good enough.
Yeah. I personally believe it should follow the Premier League model.
Well,
It just gives more people the opportunity to play the game.
100%. I
Premier
totally
League
agree
goes
with
on
you.
for 8 months, doesn't have a final. I think Man City has just won,
Right.
or at least is going to win for a third time, which will be a record. 19 teams, plain round robin, home and away, very simple. And football, as you know, is the biggest sport on this planet.
Right.
Same number of players as cricket, or almost. The only difference, I think, is that that's a 1.5 hour game. This is a 3 hour game.
And now this 3 hour game is increasingly becoming, a lot more than just 3 hours. In fact, I was listening to another podcast the other day which said that the reason why T20 was actually preferred by everyone else as viewers was that it was a lot faster than an ODI or, the Test game.
Yeah.
But in terms of the number of overs bowled per hour, T20 is actually the slowest.
Yeah, and you can make out by the fines that are being levied.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
it started off as originally as a 3 hour thing. And now I think
it's 4 hours, much
it's
beyond
4
that and all.
hours, yeah.
And the thing is, with technology coming in, with a lot of decisions being reviewed, with a lot of things, where they have to look for multiple angles, multiple camera angles and all of that, it just elongates the entire over and the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure
I agree with you.
there is some...
And also, fundamentally, cricket and football are different.
Exactly.
I mean, football, all 22 are on the field. And it's too fast. It's too, but there's a lot happening out there. This is fundamentally different. So I don't know whether...
Also, when you say that, a lot of players will get a chance to play, the thing is that cricket, when you're talking about cricket and football is, yes, definitely a team game, but cricket too is a team game, but it's played by individuals, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you had an RCB
Yeah.
game which is going on, say, somewhere in the middle of October, much later than the IPL season, which does not have Virat Kohli or which does not have some of the stars that are there, then will you get the kind of viewership that you are expecting?
Yeah, I mean, anyway, that can
That's
be a much...
another conversation.
Mangalam, now let's get into player auctions, okay?
Right.
Because this has become like a very dramatic
Totally.
thing that the entire nation is very clued on to. I have no idea how they work. Okay, but people are like, they're like, this is the purse, this is the budget, this is how they should have bid, and some eye-popping numbers for some players. How does this work? Concept of purse. Actually, that's my only question.
Okay.
What's happening here, yaar?
Every team is given a kitty to make things fair for everyone. Otherwise, if
I have more money than you, then
then it becomes a money game, right? Everyone. So to make it fair on the auction table, and it's one of the most amazing, well-designed auctions that we have all around, right? So this number, when it started, was a lot lower. Now the latest number is 100 crores per team.
And this has to come from the franchise.
This has to come. Yeah, the money has to come from the franchise.
Exactly. Yeah.
The limit is decided by the board.
BCCI,
Yes.
Yeah.
Every team has a purse of 100 crores. A purse of 100 crores. You can choose from capped players, which is basically your Indian players who've played for the nation, uncapped players, and players from associate teams. Each player can choose their own base price. The base price is between 20 lakh rupees to 2 crore rupees. So a player decides to go for a base price of 2 crore rupees, or a player decides to go for a base price of 20 lakh rupees. So you have a bunch of players, you have a purse per team, then the auction happens. Now, when this was the first few auctions where teams hadn't built their core, etc., then you could obviously, with the purse that you had, go ahead and make your team with all the players that were available in the pool. Now, with the league having matured, everyone having announced their core, what typically happens is that teams are allowed to retain up to 4 players.
And each team is what, 15 players?
Each team has about 15 players. The squad is 15. So the retention of 4 players, I've just got some rules for y'all. Teams can retain a maximum of 3 Indians or a maximum of 2 overseas players or a maximum of 2 uncapped Indians in any of these combinations, a maximum of 4 players. For every player that you retain, the first player that you retain, 16 crore is taken off that purse.
Okay.
Second player that you retain, 12 crore is taken off that
So
purse.
28 gone.
28 gone.
Yeah.
The third player is 8 crore and the fourth player is 6 crore. So all in all, what basically
40.
happens is, roughly 42 crores
Is
gone. If you've retained 4 players, so for instance, Mumbai Indians, if they retain
Bumrah, obviously.
Bumrah,
Yeah.
if they retain Rohit Sharma,
Yeah.
they retain Hardik Pandya,
Yeah.
and they retain, say, Surya Kumar Yadav.
Okay.
These 4 players, now it is up to the team who they want to retain at what position. So for instance, Chennai Super Kings has actually retained Ravindra Jadeja above MS Dhoni. So MS Dhoni's IPL fee is 12 crore rupees, whereas Ravindra Jadeja is 16 crore rupees. So it's up to the team on what position they want to retain that player. So that player's price becomes that.
Okay.
Then with the balance that you have, you go for the bid and you basically choose the players that you want apart from the ones that you've retained. That's one. Secondly, the number, the amount reduces as you reduce the number of players that you've retained. So if you are retaining just 3 players, then, the first player will be 15 crore, the second player will be 11 crore, the third player will be 7 crores. Here's the catch. The actual amount paid to the player could be what the team decides with the player.
How does that work?
Now, say you are Akash Madhwal. You are retained at the 4th spot by Mumbai Indians.
Okay.
But Mumbai Indians doesn't feel the need to pay you 6 crores. And you are okay with getting 4 crores. I will give you 4 crores.
Okay. So that's a negotiation between the
The player and the franchise.
Okay.
However, for the BCCI, the number has to be higher of the one which is mentioned or the one which is negotiated.
Okay.
Say Bumrah says that I'm not happy being the 4th retained player. You have to give me more than 6 crore rupees.
Right.
You say, okay, we'll give you 8 crore rupees. Then the number becomes, 16, 12, 8 and 8. So it has to be higher than the 2 of whether you've negotiated the number or the number which is mentioned here.
Okay. How have the highest bids for players moved over the last few years? I think last time who was the biggest one? Was it David Miller or do you remember?
Last time it was Mitchell Stark.
Stark,
the previous auction, 25 crores.
The latest one that's going
The latest
on,
one.
Yeah.
Then you had Pat Cummins who...
Wait. Mitchell Stark was?
25 crores. 24.75 crores.
Wow. So if you retain 4 players at 40, this guy for 25. So that's 65.
Yes.
In 35, you have to
buy
figure
the other team. Yes.
The rest of the team within
Yes,
that.
within
Go on.
that.
So 25 was the highest this year.
Mitchell Stark. Then there was Pat Cummins, 20.5 crores, went to SRH. Then you had Daryl Mitchell for CSK, 14 crore. What a player he's been though. Harshal Patel at around 11.75 crores. And then you had Alzari Joseph at around 11.5 crores. So these are the top 5 players.
Any idea in the last few years how this trend for the highest has been moving around? I mean, obviously it grows each and every year.
I somehow had an inkling that you would ask me for this.
Okay.
And I have made this wonderful...
Out of syllabus question.
Yes, I prepared for this out of syllabus question. The most expensive player in the IPL, the first auction was MS Dhoni.
Okay.
Went for 6 crore rupees. Right? And now, MS Dhoni's IPL salary, because he's the second retained player in Chennai Super Kings, is 12 crore rupees.
Okay.
So for all the Paisa Vaisa Gyan and compounding that you speak about, if you're looking at just pure salary increase per year, MS Dhoni's salary has compounded over 16 years at a price less than the FD rate.
Okay.
So 6 crore
I hope
doubling.
Dhoni isn't listening to this, but yeah.
If he is, then he better, negotiate with the CSK guys. I'm sure he probably may be having some stake in CSK, etc. as well, and India Cements. But, just from it was a very interesting exercise that for me as well, because 2008, you look at the top players in the IPL today, the top Indian players in the IPL today, look at their 2008 salaries and look at their 2024 salaries.
Hardly.
Let's start with MSD.
Okay.
6 crores in 2008, 2024 is 12 crores. So that's a compounding of roughly 4.5%. Virat Kohli, he came at a little over the base price in 2008, 12 lakh rupees.
Wow, okay.
12 lakh rupees, and Virat Kohli now gets 15 crore rupees.
Oh,
that's a big jump. Guess who got a lot more money than Virat Kohli in the 2008 IPL?
I have no idea.
Rohit Sharma.
Okay.
4.8 crores for Deccan Chargers that time. Now he's obviously the first retained player of the Mumbai Indians, so gets 16 crores. So that's
4
roughly
times.
a little, around 4 times,
Yeah.
a little over 3.5 times. Then you have, who else is this? Dinesh Karthik, 2.1 crores in the first season. Now is 5.5 crores.
Not bad.
Virat Kohli, 12 lakh turning into
To
15 crore. You'd say, oh yeah, one of the biggest multi-baggers, right?
That's why they say invest in yourself, right?
Let me tell you.
Oh, there's something more.
Yes,
Okay.
and I left
Yeah.
this for the last one. Ravindra Jadeja
Ah.
for Rajasthan Royals in 2008 went for the base price of 10 lakh rupees.
Okay.
And now he's the first retained player of Chennai Super Kings in 2024, drawing 16 crore rupees.
10 lakhs to 16 crores.
That's the bigger compounding. In fact,
Ah.
so the two headlines that you get from here, MS Dhoni's salary
Ah.
has not compounded more than even the FD rate.
Okay.
Virat Kohli is not the biggest multi-bagger. 12 lakh turning into 15 crores. Ravindra Jadeja's 10 lakh turning into 16 crores is the bigger multi-bagger.
Was a small mid-cap kind of a story out there or what?
It's a small to
Amazing.
mega
Yeah,
cap
yeah,
now. Yeah.
Okay, now the next biggest pool of money that rides on each and every IPL advertising. Okay, this is a massive event for advertisers.
Totally.
Probably this is the closest we've got to Super Bowl, and we know the rates out there are also insane. How has it panned out? I mean, how has it played out here for the IPL? How is, first, what are the kind of rates? How does ad revenue work? Like when you have a brand that is paying that, whatever, crore per second, or I don't know what the rates are. I'm sure that you will let me know who gets that money, how does that work?
So here's how. Let's look at the IPL as a product, right? The BCCI owns the product, so the BCCI gets the revenue from all those who are invested in the product, who are the media guys, the franchise owners, and the guys who are sponsoring for the title rights. The BCCI then decides to share it with the franchise owners because they are the ones who make the product interesting, right? Eventually, the product beyond television, beyond the stadium, is made for television.
Correct.
So that product is bought by the television guys. How is it bought? By the broadcasting auctions that happen, which we just spoke about, 48,000 crores over 5 years.
Yes.
That product is a cost for the broadcasters. The cost of that product is the cost for the broadcasters. For them to make that back, because they have the right to show this product or showcase this product on television for 2 months, milk that content, they make the money out of advertising on that, right? So the higher the broadcasting fee, the higher will be the advertising rates that they will have to charge to make good on their investment.
Makes sense, yeah.
Why would they pay higher money for this? Because of the pure reach, the pure numbers, pure retention, and which is why advertisers will also pay them as well. So some of the rates that we have, I was looking at the ad rates for this year, and this is hearsay. These are reports, so these might not be the rates at which
Entirely
actual
accurate or whatever.
deals
Yeah.
have done. But these are, these could be used as a good rule of thumb. The combined rate for standard definition and HD channels has increased to about 16.5 lakhs this year. Last year it was about 16 lakhs. Standard definition rate have increased from about 12 lakh last year to 12.8 lakhs.
But this is in what unit? Per second?
Per 10 seconds.
Per 10 seconds.
Per 10 seconds.
16 lakhs per 10 seconds.
16 lakhs per 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Then you have rate for mobile and web is actually 16 lakh per 10 seconds.
Wow.
So Jio Cinema, if you're advertising on that for 10 second, a 10-second slot would cost you 16 lakh rupees.
Okay.
Entry cost for HD channels has moved from about 5.5 lakh per 10 seconds to about 5.9 lakhs per 10 seconds. In terms of digital media advertising, that's where the biggest delta has been created. Over last year, it's grown 25%. And I was just looking at some data on advertising in digital, the advertising spends that go into digital. So while the overall media spends have increased not much, 5,200 crores in 2019, that's pre-pandemic, has turned to around 7,500 crores in 2023.
Okay.
Digital in 2019, pre-pandemic, was 875 crores. Digital has now gone all the way up to near 3,000 crores in 2023.
okay,
So in the last 5 years, where everything else was stagnant, largely stagnant, digital has grown nearly 4 times. So that's where the big delta is.
And I'm guessing, see, so from what I see on television, and I watch this primarily on DTH,
Yes.
is that 1 over is about 5 minutes, okay, and the break that comes is about 2 minutes. So sometimes it's more. And in those 2 minutes, they cram in about 5 ads. Okay, and
Let's look at it as inventory instead of looking at it as
better
5
idea.
ads,
Yeah,
right? 2 minutes is 120 seconds,
Yeah.
which is basically 12 slots of rupees 16 lakh
Correct.
each.
Yeah.
Not every ad break, by the way, is 2 minutes. So I would say each ad break would be about a minute.
Yeah,
So
and this is
you
I'm
get
saying between overs. There's also
between overs.
wickets.
Yeah, there is between overs, between wickets.
Yeah.
So you have each ad break as, say, 6 slots of 10 seconds each. That's, as per these rates, close to around 16 lakh rupees is what they're getting per 10 seconds.
Yeah.
The biggest money maker for them is the strategic timeout.
Yeah, obviously, because that's
2.5 minutes,
Yeah, crazy.
and that happens twice every inning. So 5 minutes.
4
that's
times in a match.
4 times in a match. That's
Yeah.
10 minutes of pure advertising gold.
Yeah.
10 minutes is what? 60 ad slots.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the money that
It-
broadcasters have to try and recoup from the investment that they're making. I mean, they're also giving about 118 crore per match to broadcast that match.
Thoroughly ruins my experience as a viewer.
Yeah.
I hope one day that they significantly increase subscriber revenues or subscription fees instead of ad. But
That happens in Australia, but India actually,
It'll never
as a
happen.
market,
It'll never
is
happen. It'll never
not
happen.
a content-paying
I
market.
don't think it happens in Premier League also.
It doesn't happen in.
But the game is also different.
Yeah.
You have 90 minutes of no ads at all.
So, the thing is that because cricket lends itself to so much broadcast capabilities, where,
Yeah.
if it's a 90-minute game, a football game, you can't, between two passes,
You can't
have
have
an
an
ad
ad,
break.
yeah.
Same as with tennis, you can at best have it between sets, etc.
yeah.
But cricket allows you after every wicket, after every
Yeah,
over.
it's just made for
it's
advertising.
made for advertising, and which is why it's taken off so much.
20 wickets. Okay, let's say if all 10 wickets go, that's
Yeah.
ad time. 4 strategic timeouts. and
20 overs,
Yeah,
between 2
20.
overs. Yeah, so that's multiple ads.
Well, मेरे को नहीं जमता है. I kind of it ruins the experience. I mean, that's where the only way to experience this is in the stadium. There are no ads. You just watch the entire thing as an experience and you're done.
But then stadium, there might not be ads, but there is a lot of noise. There is a lot of heat increasingly, unless you're
It's
buying
held
the
at a
most
time when it's-
expensive,
Which will rob you of all the
hospitality,
fun, yeah.
which
And those are 10K per, I think.
a lot more than that, I guess.
Is it?
And very difficult to get as well, because
Very difficult to get. Yeah, yeah.
premiumization, right? Everyone buys the most expensive ones
Yeah.
super fast.
Okay, last question. So team franchises are quite valuable. Okay, I know that there are valuations for the teams, unofficial, of course, because I don't think there's anybody
Yeah.
listed out here. I know that in the Premier League there are a few teams which are actually listed. I think Man U is
Yeah.
trades on the LSE. What do you think? I mean, A, what are the latest valuations? B, do you think there'll ever be an IPO for people like you and me to actually invest in a franchise and make this like an investment like we have for other stocks?
The day is not too far.
Okay.
The day is definitely not too far. Why do I say that? Because of the 10 teams that are there on the IPL, 4 of them are already available in some form or the other for you and I to own. So the
Yep.
question that you asked, can you and I own an IPL team? Well, we can own it via this method. How do we own it? Royal Challengers Bengaluru. That is entirely owned by United Spirits, which is the listed company. They have a market cap of roughly 85 to 86,000 crores. Analysts ascribe a valuation of roughly 10 to 12,000 crores for RCB for them. And that is also likely to increase going forward because they also own the Women's Premier League. So with that, it's about 12 to 15% of market cap. So if you go ahead tomorrow and buy United Spirits share,
You're
you
getting
will
an embedded
have
value of about 1.5 billion.
15% of your
And-
share price would be basically ascribed to the
And on
IPL.
an absolute basis, it's about $1.5 billion.
$1.5 billion.
Like hardly anything.
It's
yeah.
hardly anything. It's
No,
hardly
wouldn't
anything.
just will to qualify for a small cap or a mid cap stock.
Exactly.
There, yeah. Okay, go on, please.
Then the other way you can buy it is SRH again, owned by Sun TV entirely. Sun TV's market cap is close to around 25,000 crores. If you use the same metric, little lesser than RCB, then it would give you about $1 billion, maybe at best, 8,500 odd crores. So that's 35% of Sun TV's market cap. So you can participate that way. Then you have Lucknow Super Giants, which I have taken the value at 7,090 crores itself because it was recently bought about 3 years ago, and assuming that it stayed at those valuations
So
itself.
LSG sits in which stock?
LSG basically is owned 50% by the family, and the other 50% is held by the holding company called CESC Ventures, which is listed.
ठीक है,
So
the
this-
Goenkas, yeah.
Yeah, the Goenkas. So half of it is privately held by the Goenkas, and the other half is held via CESC Ventures. CSE Ventures has a market cap of a little over 2,500 crores, if I
It's
remember
listed
correctly.
also, traded also.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
traded.
ठीक है, हाँ.
So basically, the embedded value that you have is nearly 150 times the market cap of the company. But then again, there is holding company discount and
all that
obviously
stuff.
all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I wouldn't suggest, and by the way, these are disclaimers. Don't go
Not
ahead and buy any of
recommendations,
these stocks. These are just understanding, the business of the IPL.
Yeah.
And these are in no way any stock recommendation. And as they say, what stock mutual fund investments are subject to market risk. Please read all documents carefully before investing.
For educational purposes only.
For educational purposes only.
And
then if you want to buy a pure play IPL, team, then Chennai Super Kings. Chennai Super Kings was demerged from India Cements a bunch of years ago, if I remember correctly, around 2017, 2018, thereabouts. And the shares are not listed right now, but they are available for trade in the
unlisted
grey market, the unlisted market.
Which is unregulated.
Which is
nobody has any control over
unregulated,
there,
illiquid, prices aren't,
anyway linked to fundamentals. It's just very
You don't
random,
understand that.
It's all a
So
bid and offer supply
last
kind of a thing.
I remember I did some scuttlebutt and realized that it's around 185 to 190 rupees per share.
Okay.
Looking at the CSK annual report, once again, they have about 30.8 crore shares. So that gives you a rough market cap of close to 6,000 crores, which is much lower than what people are valuing RCB and SRH, etc. at. But then again, one doesn't know how to value these companies yet. We aren't a mature enough sports market, but that's how it is.
And what about MI? And do they sit within Reliance or where is it?
I don't think they are owned by any of the listed entities of Reliance.
Interesting. Chalo, theek hai. I think we are done. If there's any other interesting statistic that you have out there that we've missed during the show, please hit it with us. I mean, you've got like 4 pages of notes. It kind of embarrasses me. I've never prepared so much for an interview as you have. So.
Well, because that only speaks highly of you, right?
Oh,
because
no.
when it comes to Paisa Vaisa, you better be prepared. And when it comes to numbers and all, you better be prepared, So, and I didn't want to obviously give out false information or any fake information. Also because sport fans are fanatics. One wrong number that I speak here, you'll have hundreds of people trolling, Mangalam isko kuch nahi aata hai, ye wo, and all. So I was just being doubly sure.
It's amazing how the sport is tracked so closely. There's one aspect that I just realized. I do it every IPL, each and every year, without fail now.
100%.
Of course, I don't invest as much as in my time as I should. Dream 11, fantasy cricket in general.
Right.
Dream 11 came and then now there's a whole bunch of stuff. Folks, again, for discussion and education purposes only, please look at whatever you're doing when you're playing fantasy. Like the ad also says, it can be addictive and stuff like that. So please, all those disclaimers aside, please be very careful. So, fantasy.
Fantasy cricket is crazy, or fantasy sport itself is crazy. I was looking at some stat out there which told you that the number of people who have accounts on fantasy leagues is a multiple of 4 or 5 times the number of people who have demat accounts in the
20
country.
crores. No, I know, I know.
So that's demat accounts recently crossed the 12 crore mark. I think this one is crossed 30, 40 crores as well.
I get an email every day when I win from them, and the header on that email says we have crossed 20 crores.
Okay.
So I know that for a fact. I see
are they 20 crore real money gamers or are they 20 crore accounts? Because the number of accounts, so I mean, that's quite telling, right?
I mean, I can't think of any business in India, privately owned startup business, that has scaled to this number.
I mean, completely agree.
The closest that probably comes is a Jio with all its stuff. I can't think of, no, I can't. Honestly, I can't. If there is, you would know more than me. Whether anybody's gone all the way to 20 crores, users, of course.
Apart from Zerodha, I guess. No, but to be
from
very honest, it's incredible the way the whole fantasy sport has come around.
Do you?
I don't. I'll be very honest. The reason why I don't is because the fun of watching the sport goes away for me. I tried it a bunch of times.
Some people think it's also the other way. It increases your involvement in the sport.
It increases your involvement in the player, not in the sport. Let's put it that way. So
Good
if
point.
I
Fair
have,
point. Fair point.
It's like in the investing, the Sensex goes up 10%. If your stock does not go up, then you're like, "Hey, kya Sensex ka kya karunga?"
But let me ask you this, okay? Because this is a conversation that I've had with so many people on a fundamental thing.
Yes.
Luck or skill. I personally think it's a mix of both. But I think that without skill, if you assume that this is pure luck, I'm not sure it works that way.
No, it is obviously not pure luck at all.
Yeah.
It is a serious amount of skill. It's also a lot of let's call it skill plus randomness.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, you
can't call it
the choice
skill
of
and
captain
luck.
and vice captain
Yes.
is about 50% of the entire game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is one. And there is the error of commission, there is the error of omission.
Yeah.
The one day I feel that Rohit Sharma has been on a bad run and let's drop him from his team, and the next day he comes and plays, who's to know, right? So you can have all your analysis. The best way to look at it is that until you make the decision, it is pure skill. Post that is pure luck. But that's everything in life, right?
And we are not talking about the gaming possibility of gaming the system out there.
No.
That's a different discussion. But if you treat it for what it is, I think it just, for someone who wants to learn about probability,
Yes.
this is one of many ways that you can learn. It's just that I've been doing it now for the last 2 or 3 years. I just think it's a whole lot of fun. If you go to YouTube, there are so many videos, which analyze the pitch,
Right.
the weather, every possible thing, the last 5 games, and then tell you that this is the basis of the team I've chosen.
It is no different from selecting a stock in your portfolio.
There you go.
Right?
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean,
that's
so,
what I'm talking about.
Again, selecting the stock in your portfolio is a function of skill, right? So up until the decision to buy or sell, you have used all your skill, given your competence. You've looked at, in cricket terms, you've looked at the pitch, you've looked at the overall market, you've looked at all the risk factors, you've looked at the valuations, you've looked at relative valuations, previous growth and all of that and stuff. Once you've invested in that, whether the stock goes up or down, you can't be credited for that. So similarly, I choose a player basis the conditions. I choose the player basis all of that. In that game, if the player performs or not, who's to know?
Yeah, I know.
But that's, again, like I said, it's for everything in life, right? I decide going to a restaurant basis all the research that I've done. That's my skill. That day, somehow the food is not good in that restaurant. That's my luck.
Pure luck. I know. I hope to have them on my show sometime. I don't know if anyone from Dream11 is listening to this, then once the IPL is over, please do drop by.
I don't think they're listening to it right now. Post the IPL, most definitely they'll listen to all of this.
Man, IPL is really something. Finals are next Sunday. KKR, RR? Or neither?
KKR for sure. I mean, the fans, perfect would be, you would have Royal Challengers Bengaluru versus Chennai Super Kings. You have the swan song of MS Dhoni, happens in Chepauk and all of that and stuff. That is poetic. But logic, again, like skill would say definitely you would have KKR in that. RR with Joss Butler having gone, we don't know, how that team performs. And yesterday as well, they lost to Punjab. So, momentum plays a lot of role in
faltering
the last the last few games. It's about who's speaking at the right time. I would hazard you have RR versus CSK.
Very interesting. And SRH is nowhere in this. Given the kind of madness that Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma are doing, I don't think anybody has come even close to him in the power play.
Again, big matches we don't know yet. Though I wouldn't. It depends on what the table standings are as well. Because
the last 4, as of now, I think we can reasonably say is, so KKR and RR are through.
Yeah. So no, it depends on the number, because it's playoffs, right? It's not semi-final. So the ones who are top of the table, 1 and 2, they get another shot at it.
Well,
so the probability of them having going is higher.
Are the top 4 frozen? I know the top 2 are frozen. That's KKR and RR. After that?
Then there could be SRH, CSK. RCB has an outside chance. CSK has a better chance than the others. I would say among there are 5 right now vying for the top 4 spots. You have RCB, SRH, CSK, KKR and Rajasthan Royals. And in that now the top 2 have a higher probability of going to the finals. The bottom 2 now depends on whether SRH is in the top 2 or whether it's in the bottom 2.
Where they're placed.
Yes. So if they're placed, if they get another shot, they're definitely going through.
Let's give it a listing. Emotional favorites, CSK and
Emotional
Dhoni.
favorites is CSK.
And Bangalore and Kohli.
Emotional.
Total pure emotion.
Pure
RCB guys waiting. 16 साल से रुके हुए हैं कि
इस साल तो लड़कियों ने जिता दिया उनको स्मृति. What a game that was. And again, if this happens, this will be a double whammy for RCB. People will go mad. People will go crazy.
People compare it to Chelsea, but I don't know. I don't follow PL to that.
I don't watch a lot of football, so I wouldn't know.
So, okay. Emotional favorites, CSK and Bangalore. And then you've got the other 3, KKR, RR, SRH. If you were to rank KKR, RR, SRH, between these 3, who's most likely?
KKR, given the game that they're playing. Below KKR would be SRH again because of the game that they're playing, but I don't know the temperament. They've been a little volatile as well. They've had some great games. They've had some very bad games.
Yeah.
So clinically speaking, it's a very tough one between SRH and RR. Why do I say that? Because RR with Joss Butler is different. Without Joss Butler,
one player making so much of a difference.
One player can make a
Yashasvi is just not been firing this time.
Yeah, even if he does fire, the balance of the team becomes a little lopsided. So even if all your wheels are pointed in the same direction, alignment is a little more important.
So who's not won between these five? Who's not won so far? RCB obviously.
RCB hasn't won.
Hyderabad has won.
Hyderabad has won. The second IPL.
Everyone else has won. Everyone else has won. KKR has won.
KKR
I think was the very first winner.
RR was the first.
Which Shane Warne was there at that point of time.
And then you have CSK, which has won 5.
Yeah. Amazing, man. Amazing. So next Sunday, today is 16th. This episode should be out really soon, and by next Sunday we shall know who's the winner, and that's it. Yeah, I mean all the best to all the teams, all the best to all of us, and last standard question to all my guests. Mangalam, anything that you're watching, reading, anything, I know that you did a very exclusive interview with Neville, one of my most favorite CEOs out there. If anybody understands the pulse of retail and consumer India, it is him. So folks, just check out the website. It's a text interview.
It's a text interview. It's on CNBCTV18.com.
Very few people have that kind of depth and knowledge of what's happening. But what else?
What else? There's a lot of regular work which keeps going on. We keep interviewing a lot of consumer companies. But lately, Neville's interview has been pretty good. Apart from that, I think one of the interviews that I would want everyone to watch is the one with Suresh Narayanan of Nestle, because Nestle has been in a lot of controversy right now because of the supposedly high quantum of sugar in their products and all of that and stuff.
Controversy. I mean, they have ridden all of this right from the Maggi days.
If there is one person who can do it, it is Suresh Narayanan.
Yeah.
So, which is why it was a lot of fun for me to actually interview him. And since we are talking so much cricket, the one thing I would definitely like to plug is this wonderful conversation that I had with Harsha Bhogle.
Oh, wow.
On, the art of broadcast of cricket. So since we're talking about, broadcasting, we're talking about the business of cricket and all of that and stuff, the way the man breaks down every aspect of cricket broadcasting, how you should handle your equipment. And my favorite part of this all was, you remember the Kohli 18.5 shot, right? India versus Pakistan, where Harsha Bhogle said Kohli goes down the ground, Kohli goes out of the ground. He broke that bit down over 6 minutes of telling us exactly what was going on in his mind.
And why that shot was impossible.
Why that shot was impossible, why he said what he said, and how he approaches commentary. I mean, if there is anyone who speaks about cricket the way anyone else wants to listen to, it's Harsha Bhogle, right?
I mean,
he's been doing something for longer than I've been born, right? So it was a masterclass for me. I would recommend all of you all to watch it. You can watch it on YouTube.
His commentary just raises your involvement in the game consistently over the years. And the guy is so damn humble for the kind of knowledge that he has, the kind of love and passion that he has for the game. So I don't know. I hope he's listening into this. I'm assuming that's a video interview on YouTube.
That's a video interview on YouTube. You just type Harsha Bhogle broadcast CNBC, one of these keywords, you'll probably find that.
Of course, my own favorite of yours will always be the one where you had Bharat Puri and
Piyush Pandey.
I always get confused with the two. That interview is always my favorite.
Yours is being very kind.
It was really good. Anything else that you've been reading, watching, anything that you've been
Currently, the book that I'm reading is Rama Bijapurkar's book called Lilliput Land. It's I love Rama Bijapurkar.
How can you not? As someone in consumer and in general, her insights are. How's the book?
The book's good. I mean, it tells you what one tracking the consumer space intuitively knows, but it also tells it to you in a way that it breaks a lot of the assumptions that you've had about India and all of that and stuff. It's full of a lot of nuggets. So I don't want to give a lot away of the book.
I know. Because Devina Sharma, who's been again on Paisa Vaisa back in the day when we were doing online, she posted on her LinkedIn. She said that all this about little Lilliput and those sachets is one. And she had a 5-pointer out there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the end, she said that the top 10% in India, the richest 10% in India on a per capita basis, if they were a country, they would still be number 81. So all this about how we are rich and all that is still, you take a reality check on that.
That's including, it's been very kind to include the top 10%. If it just includes the top 1% or 2%, then we'll probably be a lot higher. Yeah. So
10% is a bigger number, but you're right about the top 10%. What a great book. Folks, that is it. That is a wrap on this episode of Paisa Vaisa. My guest, Mangalam Maloo, assistant editor, CNBC TV18, consumer king, consumer is life. I have never understood what your Twitter handle means, but his Twitter handle is Blitz, BLITZ, KREIGM.
Yeah.
Okay, Blitz. I know what Blitzkrieg is. So please help us.
So, okay, let me set the record straight out here. Back in the day, you remember when, you made your first email ID, it was always something absolutely random. You wanted to sound very cool and all of that and
Sexy man
stuff.
2020,
Exactly, exactly. So in my case, I was very fascinated by the word Blitzkrieg because it just meant a lot of World War II reference, yes,
Obviously,
but
World War, yeah.
apart from that, the Metallica song Blitzkrieg was also there. And it was just meant a lot of aggression, a lot of energy, a lot of action happening. And I was like, if I have to have an email, I have to have an internet identity, this is what it should be.
Right.
Obviously, I didn't know then that I would be on CNBC TV18 at some point and all of that and stuff. So I was reluctant to change it because by then it had become my internet identity, so to say. And while doing that, I also think I slept through the class where they taught I before an E except after C because Blitzkrieg M is misspelt.
Oh, nice.
So
I didn't.
it's IEG is the correct spelling. Mine is EIG.
Well done.
So,
well done.
yeah,
So that actually makes it cooler because nobody else can copy it.
Nobody else can copy it, yeah.
That's his Twitter handle. He's there on all social media. You can please, check out his content. His interviews are there on YouTube as part of CNBC TV18's content. But Mangalam, thank you so much for doing this for us.
Thank you for having me. I rarely get a chance to prepare so much about a sport that I love, and I hope there was value added.
Yeah, and all the best to all of us for the final. So thanks so much, Mangalam. Thank you.
Thank you.
IVM